What's up, y'all? As a large, fat man for most of my life, I've done my fair share of diets. I've tried plenty of them. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. But none of them were as crazy as some of the ones we're going to talk about today. I mean, we all know that people will do crazy things to try to lose a little bit of weight.
And the addiction was to laxative
It was
pills.
to laxatives.
But some of this shit is just ridiculously stupid. So let's get into it. The first diet we're going to talk about is the Tapeworm Diet. So the Tapeworm Diet started with Victorian era women, and it got real popular in the early 1900s. Pretty much when people thought that a sneeze was a demon coming out of your body. So that's the people that we're dealing with here. But anyways, people would take a pill that pretty much promised weight loss, but inside of those pills were tapeworm eggs. I mean, people in the 1920s were literally some of the dumbest people ever. What kind of person sees some sleazy tapeworm salesman who's like, "Oh girl, you wanna see your name in lights? You got moxie. You just need to lose a few pounds. Take this." But the whole idea was that the tapeworm would eat all the extra food that your body doesn't. But obviously that's pretty dumb, because when you put food in your body eats it all, except for corn. We all know how that goes. But it's not like if you eat an extra big bowl of cereal, there's cereal coming out on the other side. Whatever you eat gets digested. So their whole premise was flawed. On the label for these, they said that there was absolutely no danger. They even marketed them as like, this is your little friend. This is your little tapeworm buddy. He's gonna help you lose weight. Come on, he's a good guy. But even though they didn't have any warnings on the bottle, because it's the fucking 1920s, there were plenty of problems that could come up from, ingesting a tapeworm, obviously. Some of them being they can cause headaches, eye problems, muscle damage, seizures, along with a whole host of other things, which I was reading some stuff and it said that tapeworms can get out of your digestive tract and latch on to your appendix and your liver and stuff. So your little buddy might not even be hanging out where you want him to. He might be snooping around your house a little bit, getting attached to your appendix. But after losing the weight, the person would just take some anti-parasitic drug and the tapeworm would just vanish out of your body, which was pretty crazy. I'm just kidding. You have to pass a 30-foot tapeworm, and by pass, I mean shit. So, you've got to shit out a 30-foot worm. What kind of Guinness World Record dump are we talking about?
My God, it must be over 100 Courics!
30 feet? That's a first down. That is crazy. And obviously, that could cause complications. So yeah, Tapeworm Diet, I'm putting that one up there. It's pretty bonkers. But moving on, we're going to keep up the crazy levels and go to the Arsenic Diet. So the Arsenic Diet was popular in the 1800s. Arsenic is a white, odorless, and tasteless powder. And back then, women were using this to kill their husbands left and right. And some guy saw that and was like, fucking light bulb, I'm gonna make it a diet pill. He labeled it as a miracle cure that speeds up the metabolism. But it was also marketed for other stuff. They said that it could help with asthma, cancer, skin problems, and it would help to reduce libido. Not increase, reduce. And one of its biggest selling points was they would market it to whiten skin, which I don't know who the fuck in 1800s England needed to be whiter, but that was their big shebang. But yeah, this stuff, they pretty much sold it over the counter at general stores, and a lot of the times they wouldn't label it arsenic because right beside your weight loss arsenic was rat poison arsenic. So they didn't want people getting cold feet thinking, oh, is this rat poison? Is this a weight loss pill? So fuck it, we just won't tell them. And of course, people took way too many and they died because, why wouldn't they? Which, I mean, I honestly don't blame them. if you gave me a big old bundle of Ozempic right now, I'm juicing up to the gills. But arsenic actually acts as a stimulant, apparently, unless you take a little too much, and then it's like a big time downer, you know what I mean? And some people say that it may have actually helped with weight loss, which I don't know if that's because you eat some arsenic, you get so sick that you just can't eat, but that's neither here nor there. If it works, it works. But along with all the other stuff, it can cause skin lesions, heart disease, diabetes, organ failure, cancer, and death. I mean, that's no worse than a fucking Pfizer commercial nowadays, right? Are you tired of being a big fat fatty? Does your wife let you borrow her bras? Well, ask your doctor about Arsenic today. Side effects may include skin lesions, heart disease, diabetes, organ failure, cancer, and death. Ask your doctor how Arsenic can help you. But moving on to something way healthier than arsenic, we've got the cigarette diet. And this has pretty much been around since people have smoked. It's long been known that nicotine helps curb your appetite, but tobacco companies really used to play up the whole like smoke and be healthy and thin. If you want to be thin like Dorothy, you need to be smoking a pack a day, gal. What are you doing? And from like the 30s till the 50s, doctors would essentially prescribe cigarettes. It wouldn't be a prescription, but tobacco companies were just paying doctors to pretty much say, not only are cigarettes not bad for you, they're really good for you. They would say stuff like dust, germs, and a lack of menthol were actually the bad things. Oh, you're coughing all the time? You have popcorn lung and tuberculosis? Well, that's not from cigarettes, silly. That's from the dust in your house. Won't you clean up, you dirty bitch? Have you ever heard of a Swiffer wet jet? But yeah, doctors used to pretty much prescribe smoking cigarettes instead of other like common diets at the time, like a grapefruit diet, something like that. They would just be like, just smoke some more cigarettes. Okay, moving on to every incel's favorite diet, the Chastity Diet.
Get no bitches.
So the Chastity Diet was around in the 1800s. It was started by a Presbyterian minister, Sylvester Graham. And Sylvester Graham was a pretty kooky guy. He's a weird fella. He's often referred to as the father of vegetarianism. He was a vegetarian in the 1800s, which is fucking crazy. Like, you know, sometimes vegans still get weird looks nowadays. Now, imagine it's 1800. There's not even really food at all, and this guy's like, I don't want your beef. So you have him to thank for people like this.
When you were little and you trusted your parents, they shoved the dead body parts of innocent animals onto that spoon and down your throat.
But Sylvester Graham, he would teach about all kinds of crazy shit. He would tell people that they need to sleep on hard mattresses and take cold showers, obviously only eat vegetables, and non-refined flour. He said, make your bread at home because that shit they're selling down at the bakery is no good. And this got him into a little bit of hot water because at one point he got lynched by a group of butchers and bakers. I mean, they beat the hell out of him, but it kind of backfired because they also beat a good idea into him. Sylvester Graham was the guy that invented the graham cracker. Now, this is not the graham cracker that we know and love. This thing was an abomination. I mean, they were literally just chunks of wheat and some water mushed into little dirt cookies, essentially. And he invented graham crackers because he thought that they helped curb libido. You may have noticed a little trend here, because apparently everybody back then was just trying to lower everyone's sex drive. I mean, that was his whole thing. He preached his dietary practices to help people fight their sexual urges. And I don't know why everybody was so obsessed with, like, curbing people's libido back in the day, but I guarantee you, if you showed any of these people a fucking Ice Spice music video, their head would explode into a million pieces. But speaking of Ice Spice, we are moving on to the rubber underwear diet. This one was popular in the mid-1800s, and it is exactly what it sounds like. People would wear tight rubber underwear to sweat away fat. And believe it or not, this didn't work. It was very effective, however, in giving you the worst swamp ass you've ever had. And I mean, I bet this smelled bad even for like 1850s standards. I just picture some people walking the Oregon Trail like, holy shit, did you get a whiff of Agatha? Yeah, she's getting dysentery for sure. That shit is potent. But little fun fact, sometimes people's skin would become so sweaty that it would start to soften, break down, and bind with the rubber underwear. Fucking yikes. Because they intended for people to wear these underwear. You know, it's the 1800s. You're not changing out every day. People are wearing these things for weeks straight. I mean, you're essentially just wearing a gimp suit to lose weight. And moving on from rubber to cotton, we have the cotton ball diet. Now you may be thinking, the cotton ball diet, this one's gotta be from 1802. Wrong. This one was popular in 2013. It started in the modeling community, and nothing says fashion like eating your fucking t-shirt. But people would soak cotton balls in juice and eat them. And I want to know, who the fuck was the person that had a cup of V8 Splash and some cotton balls, and they were like, I got an idea. Obviously, this one is dangerous and not advised, because you can choke on cotton balls, they can cause obstructions, or things called bezoars, or bazors. What bezors are, it would pretty much be a clump of cotton balls and mucus. So essentially the most disgusting thing you can think of. And it would turn into a concrete in your stomach or in your intestines, and it would kill you. Also, cotton balls are like doused in bleach, so that's not too good. I just want to know who was the first girl to do it. Like, when she's taking a shit, is it just pairs of socks?
Master has given Dobby a sock.
What?
And that was the main six. But I do have a few honorable mentions I just want to touch on real quick, so let's get into that. So we have the caffeine diet, you know, because there's nothing better for a fat person's heart than just 1,000 milligrams of caffeine. We have the chew and spit diet, which that is just edging for an obese person. We have the avoiding swamps diet, which that's just something some dumbass 200 years ago thought. But to be fair, if he ever went to Louisiana or Florida, I mean, he may have a point, honestly. And breatharianism. Breatharianism is pretty much a cult that thinks you don't need food or water to sustain yourself. You can get by on breathing exercises, which is absolutely stupid. Get out of my face with that. It's like some Gwyneth Paltrow stuff. We got the vinegar diet. That guy's breath probably smelled great. The prayer diet. I can personally say that this one doesn't work. If you've ever been to church in the South, you know this one doesn't work. Fat soap, another dumb one. It was literally advertised that using this soap would wash the fat off your body. And I feel like even by like 1800 standards, you gotta see right through that. No way anybody's falling for that. Ear stapling, which is kind of like an acupuncture thing. I'm not gonna get into the legitimacy of that. I've never had it done. I do not know. But I would like to believe that you can't just staple your ear and you won't be hungry anymore. Because if that were the case, my ears would just be metal. And last but not least, the one diet on this list that may actually work and not kill you. The sleeping diet. Because if you're asleep, you can't shovel food into your fat face. That's all I got for y'all. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you want to see more like it, please subscribe, and I will catch y'all next time.